The race to dominate the humanoid industry has been moving as fast as ever.
And for lots of people who saw the footage, it was a proper pinch-me moment. A troupe of robots on stage in China performing eye-catching martial arts.
You can say, Brett, definitively, there was no teleoperation.
There's absolutely no teleoperation in any of this. The robots are all operating fully autonomously using an onboard neural network we designed called Helix 2.
But on May 1st, 2026, Meta launched forward by acquiring a robotics startup most people had never even heard of. The company was called Assured Robot Intelligence, a small humanoid robotics AI startup with just 20 employees, all working on the part of robotics that is suddenly becoming the most important, not the metal body, but the intelligence inside it. The statement Meta gave was unusually specific. ARI, it said, was at the frontier of robotic intelligence, built to help robots understand, predict, and adapt to human behavior in complex and dynamic environments. But still, the question remains. This small 20-person team didn't have a finished consumer robot, no product launch, no price, no delivery date. So why would Meta buy them out?
Humanoid robots sound like something out of a sci-fi movie. What is Meta's vision for this venture here, and how much are they spending to do it?
So Meta wants to own this still nascent humanoid market, right? These are home robots that can do chores for you, maybe fold laundry, carry a glass of water, bring something for you up the stairs. We've seen Tesla get into this game with Optimus. We've seen Boston Dynamics with Spot. Other companies like Apple and Google DeepMind are making investments here. But Meta wants to be the Android or Qualcomm of the humanoid industry and power the underpinnings, the software, the hardware, the artificial intelligence, the sensor stack, the compute for the whole industry. So they're talking to several partners, including Unitree. They're talking to a company called Figure AI, and they want to power this. And today they're starting up a new division run by the former CEO of GM's Cruise, Mark Whitten. They're going to hire about 100 people for the robotics field. And their plan is to try to own this market and eventually maybe even make a humanoid robot of their own.
ARI's co-founder described in his announcement post, ARI had joined Meta to build the future of humanoid intelligence. He wrote that the company's mission from the start was to achieve physical AGI, and that the next step was bringing personal superintelligence into the physical world. For years, Meta has been trying to work out what comes after the smartphone. First it was virtual reality, then AI glasses, then personal assistants, and now it seems to be humanoid intelligence. At first glance, the ARI deal looks like another basic talent acquisition. A small robotics team, being absorbed into Meta Superintelligence Labs and working with Meta Robotics Studio. But the acquisition came after Meta had already created a dedicated humanoid robotics effort inside Reality Labs. And after nearly every major AI company had started pointing toward the same destination, AI that does not just answer questions, but acts in the physical world. But to understand why Meta wanted ARI specifically, we have to go back to the moment Meta quietly started building a robotics division of its own. Zuckerberg's robotics story began years earlier when Facebook became Meta.
The basic story of technology in our lifetimes is how it's given us the power to express ourselves and experience the world with ever greater richness. Back when I started Facebook, that mostly meant text that we typed on computers. Then we all got phones with cameras, and the internet became much more visual. And recently, video has become the main way that we experience content. We've gone from desktop to web to phones, but this isn't the end of the line. The next platform and medium will be an embodied internet where you're in the experience, not just looking at it.
Mark Zuckerberg described the company's next platform as an embodied internet, something where people were in the experience, not just looking at it. At the time, the phrase was mostly about virtual reality and the metaverse, but in hindsight, it also revealed the direction Meta kept moving toward, computing that moves away from the screen and into reality. 2 years later, the language became more technical. In 2023, Meta's Fair Lab described its work on embodied AI agents that could perceive and interact with their environment, share that environment safely with people, and assist in both the digital and physical world. Then, in October 2024, Meta announced new robotics research around touch perception, dexterity, and human-robot interaction. The company wrote that understanding and interacting with the physical world comes naturally to humans, but remains a struggle for today's AI systems. It released MetaSparsh, Digit 360, and Digit Plexus, tools aimed at giving robots better tactile sensing. The goal was to give these robots their own sense of perception, touch, movement, and interaction.
Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Mustafa.
And we're working on touch perception at Meta Fair. Our MetaFair team is excited to release several cutting-edge developments in robotics and touch perception that mark a significant step forward in our understanding of the physical world and our ability to interact with it in meaningful ways.
Let's begin with Sparsh. Sparsh is the first general-purpose touch representation that works across any tactile sensor and any task. To achieve this, we trained Sparsh using 460,000 tactile images with self-supervised learning. In benchmarks, we find that Sparsh outperforms task and sensor-specific models by an average of over 95%. Sparsh unlocks pre-trained backbones that allow us to measure properties like forces and contact, which are imperceptible through vision. Our aim is to empower the community to build and scale these models towards novel applications.
Which leads us to Digit 360, a breakthrough tactile sensor that perceives the world with human-level touch sensing capabilities. With on-device AI, Digit 360 processes information locally and makes decisions inspired by the reflex function in people and animals. This allows a sensor to respond quickly to various inputs, such as the poke of a needle or the flex of a tennis ball. It responds quickly to various inputs, mimicking the performance of a human finger, making it an innovative solution for multiple applications. We've also paired Digit 360 with Digit Plexus, a platform that standardizes robotic sensor connections and interactions, mimicking the human hand's touch information processing for embodied AI. Digit Plexus provides hardware and software components for easy integration of touch sensing technology into robotic systems.
But what followed showed that Meta was truly serious about their humanoid program. In February 2025, the internal move became explicit. Reuters reported that Meta was creating a new division inside Reality Labs to develop AI-powered humanoid robots. According to the memo, Reuters viewed Meta CTO Andrew Bosworth said the group would focus on consumer humanoid robots with a goal of maximizing Llama's platform capabilities. Meta was no longer treating robotics as a separate side project. It was tying humanoid robots directly to Llama, its foundation model family. Bosworth added that expanding into robotics would only accrue value to Meta AI and our mixed and augmented reality programs. The new group would be led by Mark Whitten, the former CEO of Cruise, the self-driving car company. Meta also hired John Corrill, the former CEO of The RealReal, to strengthen retail around Quest headsets and AI wearables like Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses. The timeline was now visible. First, Meta chased the next interface with VR and AR. Then it built AI glasses, giving Meta AI eyes and ears. Then it started developing touch, simulation, and embodied agents. Then it created a humanoid robotics group inside Reality Labs. And a little over a year later, Meta bought ARI. Meta's ARI acquisition makes even more sense when it's placed inside the larger shift happening across the AI industry. For the last few years, the industry's center of gravity was digital. Language models wrote text. Image models generated pictures. Video models created scenes. Then came agents, systems that could use tools, browse the web, write code, and move through software. But robotics is what happens when that same idea tries to actually leave the screen. At CES 2026, NVIDIA's Jensen Huang described physical AI as one of the most important frontiers of the AI revolution.
My agent controls the head, ears, and camera of the Ricci with tool calls. I want to give Ricci a voice, and I really like 11 Labs, so I'll hook up their API.
Hi, I'm Ricci, running on DGX Spark.
Hey Ricci, what's on my to-do list today?
Your to-do list today? Grab groceries, eggs, milk, butter, and send Jensen the new script.
Okay, let's send Jensen that update. Tell him we'll have it for him by the end of the day.
With Brev, I can share access to my Spark and Ricci, so I'm going to share it with Anna.
Hey Ricci, what's Potato up to?
He's on the couch. I remember you don't like this. I'll tell him to get off. Potato, off the couch.
With all the progress in open source, it's incredible to see what you can build. I'd love to see what you create.
Isn't that incredible? Now, the amazing thing is, that is utterly trivial now. That is utterly trivial now. And yet, just a couple of years ago, all of that would have been impossible. Absolutely unimaginable.
He defined it simply. Physical AI is about AI interacting with the world. That is the key difference. A chatbot only has to predict words, whereas a robot has to predict the world. It has to understand gravity, friction, force, weight, timing, balance, motion, and human behavior. A slightly wrong answer in a chat window is one thing. A slightly wrong movement in a kitchen, factory, or living room is something else entirely. This is why modern robotics is no longer just a hardware race. The hardware has improved dramatically. Humanoids can now walk, balance, lift objects, and perform choreographed demos that would have looked impossible a decade ago. But the hard part is not simply making the robot move. The hard part is making it understand what the movement itself actually means.
We built looked at the neural net and we said, how do we fit this into a humanoid robot, and what are the best sensors? How should it run? What does the operating system look like? Middleware, firmware, embedded software, all of it is encapsulated in this view that we need to go all in on neural nets and do human-like work.
Figure AI's Helix is a good example of where the field is heading. Figure describes Helix as a generalist vision language action model that unifies perception, language understanding, and learned control. Its newer Helix 02 system extends that idea to the entire robot, controlling walking, manipulation, and balance as one continuous system. That is the same bottleneck ARI appears to be aimed at. Meta told TechCrunch that the ARI team would bring expertise in designing models and frontier capabilities for robot, control, and self-learning applied to whole-body humanoid control. In other words, ARI was not just essential because it understood robots. It was essential because it understood the bridge between AI models and physical action. And Meta is not alone in seeing that bridge as the next platform. Tesla has Optimus. Figure is building humanoid workers. NVIDIA is building simulation world models and robotics foundation models. Google, Amazon, Apple, and other major technology companies have all been watching the same space.
And then NVIDIA and Google and even Sam, everybody's making noises about
Meta, Amazon, listen, this is going to be the largest economy in the world. It's roughly a little under half of GDP is human labor.
$50 trillion.
Yeah, this is the next great place to be. And I think it's going to be super impactful business. It'll lead to ubiquitous goods and services for anybody in age of abundance. And it's going to be a super fun business too. It's going to build a sci-fi future we all want. Yes. It's going to feel like it's going to feel like 2080 up in here. Yep. So what you're seeing is every major group in the world will get in this space. You have to. You have no choice.
The next phase of AI will not be about making models that speak more convincingly. It'll be about making models that can see, move, touch, learn, and act in environments that never repeat themselves exactly. So Meta is not entering an empty market. It is entering a platform race. And for Meta, platform races are personal. So with all that being said, what does the future hold? The ARI acquisition is small compared to Meta's giant spending on AI infrastructure, glasses, and reality labs. But small acquisitions sometimes reveal large intentions. Meta may eventually build a humanoid robot of its own. According to The Verge, the company is already working on an internal humanoid prototype called Metabot, and ARI gives Meta a team that can focus on the hardest part of bringing Metabot to life, not walking demos, but intelligence, control, self-learning, whole-body humanoid movement, the ability to adapt around humans in everyday environments. The near-term product may not be a Meta robot in the home. It may be models, sensors, simulation tools, control systems, developer frameworks, and partnerships with the companies actually building the bodies.
Bloomberg just reporting a handful of other people who work in robotics and artificial intelligence have left the company in recent weeks. Bloomberg naming one person who I've also confirmed, by the way, has been left the robotics division within Apple and left for Meta's robotics team.
This would be Meta's old ambition in a new form. Facebook connected people through social software. Instagram organized attention. Quest tried to build a virtual world. Ray-Ban Metas brought AI into daily life through glasses. Robotics would take the same idea one step further. AI with eyes and ears becomes AI with hands. And if Meta succeeds, the company may not be remembered for building the best humanoid robot. It may be remembered for building the system that lets many humanoid robots think. So as always, what do you think? Is robotics the next major platform for AI, or will physical AI take longer than Silicon Valley expects?